The BK Lounge Podcast. Welcome to laughs, love, and crazy debates by your two favorite hosts, Burt and Kenny. Join us in talks about military life, relationships, golf life, and so much more. Your new favorite place to come hang out on Sundays. Introducing the BK Lounge Podcast, a Burt's Beat Studios production. And now your hosts, Burt and Kenny.
Well, hello.
Hello.
I feel like I can't see you. I moved things around in here to like center it up better.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I did with this. But don't we usually have our mugs here?
No.
Oh.
Negative.
Anywho, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
To the fathers.
To all the daddies.
To the daddies.
To the daddies. Saturdays are for the dads.
Yep.
No, Sundays are for the dads. Saturdays are also for the dads, but today's
Sunday.
a Sunday, and it's for the dads.
Yeah.
So, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Yep. Happy Father's Day. To dads, male figures, stepdads, father-in-laws.
Yep.
All the daddies.
The
grandads?
Granddads, the great-granddads,
Yep.
the uncles, the brothers.
Yeah.
Did I spell special wrong in the title? That's
you?
rough.
It's been one of those days. We're a little tired.
We're both very tired today, yes.
Very tired.
Very
but
tired.
That's okay.
It's all right. Sometimes you just need a little cat nap.
Did you talk to your father today?
I did. FaceTime him twice, actually.
Whoa, twice.
Twice in one day.
Based off of like, hey, happy Father's Day, or was he asking for something, or you asking for something?
No, the first one was for Father's Day.
Yep.
And then the second one, Xfinity, I keep saying Xfinity. Spectrum came by, so I called him back. And he was actually actively running on a treadmill and answered my FaceTime call.
That man is an animal.
It sounded like a train was coming through. And he gets off. He's like, yeah, I was close enough to being done. I was like, okay, look at you, get after it. But no, I talked to him for a while. Talked to him about trying to get the golf cart down here. Mm-hmm. Talking about the mower. They're just going to pick one up in old Vermont.
Nice.
Because he was like, use yours for a couple of times. Let me know if you like it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's definitely different than, because he's used to the gas-powered.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, the button's a little wonky. It took me a hot minute and Kenny's help to figure out how to turn it on.
Yep.
But he's like, oh, okay. And then my mom's all worried about the sale. She wants to make sure. She's like, how long is this sale going on for? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think they're just going to pick one up. Because we got a new mower.
We got a new mower.
We
got a lot of new stuff going on. New bed frame.
Yep. New desk for you.
New desk.
Security cameras.
What else?
New vacuum.
New vacuum. New water bottle. Yeah.
Anybody else have a significant other, or maybe it's them, it's you, who can't pass up on a new water bottle? Because Kenny is a fiend for water bottles.
I like a good vessel.
She saw one in
Target.
Mm-hmm. Saw it, was like, I like that color. I think you're coming home with me. And it did. Built-in straw.
You were like, do we need another water bottle? And I kind of like gave the look. Didn't answer the question. Like, it's not really up to you. You know what I mean? So, came home with me. It's an Awala. Yeah, Awala. Very popular right now. It's like the new form of Stanley for most of the girlies. Some guys. Really? My dad has one.
I'd never heard of it or like seen it until Target.
So you can sip, or it has a built-in straw. Same cold features, keeps everything cold.
Way less bulky than the old Stanley, I will say that.
Yep. Stanley's still in the
I was say, though your Stanley, I love the color of that Stanley.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's a light pink. My favorite color.
Yeah.
But so some new stuff going on.
Yep.
And
still organizing,
yeah. Did a couple of boxes today. I worked this morning. Since my dad is not here in North Carolina, hint, hint, rude. It's his first Father's Day as a North Carolina resident. And what did he do? He went back to Vermont help my mom get their cottage ready and blah, 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 so that she can get down here too. But I'm like, it's your first Father's Day in Carolinas with your Carolina girl, and
We could have gone for such great pork chops somewhere.
we could have gone for pork chops. We could have played golf. We could have watched the U.S. Open. We could have done so many things that he loves to do. We could have done so many things.
Yeah. Could have got nachos somewhere.
Nachos. We could have drove around aimlessly.
Yep.
Just riding the speed limit.
Yep.
Yep. Gone and just brought the trash down and back, just for the feel of it. I don't know. We could have done a lot of things. So, Dad, if you're listening,
What the heck?
I missed you today, but what the heck?
But also, Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
Yes.
It's your day. You can do whatever you want.
It is your day.
You can spend it with Mom and your other daughter and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that do work.
It works like that, but guess what? I'll see him in a couple days and
Yep. And then
smack him around.
next Father's Day, both of our fathers will be here.
Yep, next Father's Day, both our fathers, Justin.
Yep.
Well, everybody will be here.
Everybody will be here.
So, in the fall, we will no longer have to not spend
Holidays away.
holidays away.
It'll be great.
I know it'll be kind of crazy and weird and freaky.
But that is something my dad did tell me today, is that it'll most likely be for early September instead of October. That they're coming down.
I figured it was coming. But
So that's good.
yeah. But yeah, so Father's Day.
Father's Day.
It's a big day.
Big day.
You want to talk about your dad?
I love my dad.
He's a good guy.
My dad,
Stacy.
he's just a good man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he has, like, a mean bone in his body.
Oh, I mean, you talk a little smack about the Bruins or whatever.
Well, yeah,
you
but
rub him
that's like chippy, ha-ha,
No, he doesn't have
poke at you.
He doesn't have a mean body.
I don't think I've ever seen him, like, unjustly mad. Like, you know, some people just get mad to get mad, or just, like, mean people.
Yep.
It's not my dad. No matter what is going on, I feel like he's always just cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah. I would agree.
No matter what. Like, I was not a good student growing up, and, like, he would never yell at me.
Uh-huh.
The only time he really yelled at me is that day I threw the Frisbee in the pool,
Yep.
and I swore, and he heard me, and he yelled at me and told me to read a book.
He made you read it out loud.
And I had to read it out loud so he knew I was reading it. And I had a friend over, and my friend was like, "Can you not read out loud?" I was like, "I have to."
That's honestly the funniest punishment I've ever heard. When your parents were here a couple weeks ago, they told me the story about how he was so mad and punished Nick by making him read a book. And if anybody wants to know, he doesn't read.
I hate reading. Always have.
Any sort of like thing that he's forced to do is like by like reading, like school, like book work, anything like that. He's like,
Hate it.
No. Like, perfect example, the lawnmower.
Yep.
I'm like, did you read the instructions? No.
I was like, I did to put it together, the assembly instructions, but that was about it.
And I was like, all right. So I pull up the instructions on my phone, and I told him how to just turn it on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you imagine if you read it and then your dignity would be in.
Yeah, I guess I
so-
wasn't expecting it to be like that. But again, it's also not your traditional lawnmower, so it makes sense.
Yeah. So
In my defense, well, it's not really in my defense, because Rob bought his off Facebook Marketplace, because I told Rob I struggled with it, and he's like, yeah, I literally had to watch a YouTube video. And then I was like, oh, I don't feel as bad. But again, he bought it off Facebook Marketplace.
you had literally the box and
So he
every
didn't-
instruction,
yeah.
battery instruction, assembly instruction, turning it on.
Everything. And it was in 2 different languages.
It was in 3.
Plenty of options.
So-
Didn't read it. Not an instructions guy. Assembly instructions, absolutely.
But I think, especially the fact that you hate reading, the fact that your dad made you read out loud
Yep.
is so funny to me.
I can picture everything of that day. The pool was covered. Me and my friend in the neighborhood throwing Frisbee in the backyard. I whizzed it past him, lands on the pool cover. And I think I said, what the hell? or maybe it was the F word. I really don't remember. But he had the window fan in, and he was changing up in his bedroom, and that was facing the backyard, and he heard it. And he yelled through the fan to get inside. And I got inside, and he's like, start reading now. And I was like, ugh. I had to read the book out loud.
That is so funny to me.
Yeah, but he's the most cool, calm, collected guy, would do anything for anybody.
Yeah.
Incredibly hardworking. Like, very lucky to have him growing up as a father figure, a role model. You know, he reminds me, as he's getting older, of my grandfather Burt, who, again, was like a stand-up guy. Everybody knew him. Like, I remember when I was a recruiter for the military.
Right.
Milton, where he grew up, and my grandparents lived, was one of the sections I was responsible for. And anywhere I went, you know, having Riley on my uniform, it was like, are you Stacey Riley's boy? Are you Burton Riley's grandson? Like, the Riley name, not necessarily the name, but my grandfather and my dad were known everywhere. He's the kind of guy, whether we're traveling out of state or just driving around town running errands, he runs into everybody. Everybody knows him. Everybody has, you know, good rapport with him. Like, he's just such a stand-up dude. And he's a hard worker.
And he owns a pair of jorts.
And he owns a pair of jorts, couple pairs. You should have been around when I was, like, just beginning high school camping. Guess what he used to wear to the pool? And so he wore normal swim trunks, but he used to wear a skull cap that was an American flag so his scalp didn't burn. Like a full-blown do-rag. Can you picture him in a do-rag?
Yeah, I can.
Isn't that wild? Yeah.
I can.
But he, you know, growing up, worked 2 jobs to make sure, you know, we had what we needed and, you know, had nice things. Still working to this day, and, you know, I'm super proud of him that he's getting that much closer here in the coming months to being able to pick up, do what he wants, and just enjoy, you know, not having to work a ton and, you know, really put his body through it with the jobs that he's had, and just, you know, kind of enjoying life more and having more time to do what he wants. And I know he's super excited to get down here, but he's also extremely excited to work.
Yeah. He's going to come work for me.
My dad is going to go work at the country club for Kenny, and he is ecstatic.
Yeah, I might need him to come sooner.
Yeah. Any conversation about moving down, he was like, well, you know, like, Jensen's got me for a job, right? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you say you're coming down, she'll get you a job. And he's just like, you know, they're looking at different towns. Well, how far is this from the course? How far is this from the course? And he is jazzed up about it. He's like, I'm going to love that job so much.
Yeah.
Because he gets to hang out, he gets to be outside, he gets to talk with people, interact with people, he gets to be around you all day. So he's stoked. And I'm super, super happy for him, super proud of him. Like, he's a hardworking guy who did a lot, you know, when I was young, when, you know, I wasn't young, and he's just always been on the go, always doing whatever he can for me, my siblings, anybody and everybody.
Yeah. No, he's a great guy.
Very, very lucky. What about your dad?
My dad?
Tell us about old Robert.
Robert? No,
Robert.
He's an animal.
He,
My dad's an animal.
that man is an animal. And side note, her dad and my dad knew each other's families growing up.
Yeah.
They grew up in the same area.
Played soccer. He played soccer with... Your dad played soccer with my uncles.
Yes. Yep.
But, yeah, no, my dad... I'm definitely a daddy's girl. I love my mom and everything, but I am a daddy's girl. I grew up a tomboy. I have a younger brother, and I was always like, I want to do, like, the boy stuff. Like, why can't I do it? But I'm also... My sister is technically my half-sister, so we have different dads, but... so I'm his firstborn, really. So...
Right.
I have a little bit of a soft spot to him. He will never acknowledge it around my siblings, but I very much do, and I know that I do. But no, he's a special guy, and he's been somebody in my life that I've always, you know, relied on. It doesn't matter situation, what it is. He's kind of like my peace of mind, I would say. My mom was the one that kind of dropped the hammer. We've talked about how she's like a strong woman and a provider, and, you know, in so many ways is this incredible woman. But my dad was like, you know, he was always mellow, steady Eddie, but, you know, he's the guy that's going to put a smile on your face. He
always has a joke. And it's not even like a joke. It's just like the noises, the phrases, and like the timing of all of those are absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. And, you know, he's one of 6. He's the youngest of 6. So I have some aunts and uncles on his side. So he, you know, he was always the young one. He, you know, and then he had his own family, and, you know, he took his time with all of us. Like, all of us have a different relationship with him, but it's all very special to every single one of us. But yeah, no, I'm for sure a daddy's girl. I could always depend on, you know, if I was playing hockey, he was always in the stands. And
I was saying, never missed a hockey game, that's for sure.
Never missed a hockey game, especially when I was local. As soon as I started traveling and stuff like that, he, you know, with modern time, I was lucky enough to have most of my games online and videotaped and all of that. So he got to watch me live.
But he would drive. Wouldn't he drive to Maine occasionally too, just to like see a home game? Yeah, that's awesome.
He would drive 4.5 hours to Maine, watch a game, and drive 4.5 back, all in the same day. He would go to work, do a couple of appointments, and then I would see him in the stands. I would come out about in between the second and third period, kind of give him a hug. He'd bring me a Gatorade and a power bar, and then after the game, he was on his way. So, you know, I'm very lucky to have the relationship that with my dad that I do, and like you said, he makes these noises, makes these jokes. He can have these one-liners where he can be as dead as serious as can be, and you're like,
where did that come from?
What?
And why is it so funny?
I know, and just the way that he like carries himself is like. And to be honest, especially watching him become a grandfather to my sister's kids is like, it's a whole nother world, because then it's like you're looking in, you know, a time warp of what he was to us.
Yeah.
And it's obviously a little bit softer, just like any grandparent is.
Yeah.
But,
yeah,
you know, he gets those kids going, and, you know, he's a good guy. And I think both of us, we talk about a lot is... We owe a lot to our dads.
Absolutely. Like, you know, I talk about it with my grandfather and like my dad a lot of like, if I could be a quarter or a half of, you know, the type of man that they are, like I've done something right. Like, your dad is such a hardworking dude.
Right.
Like, not only at work, but like at home with all the projects he's doing, all the people he's helping, all the things that he's doing. It's just constant.
Yeah.
And he never squawks about it, doesn't complain about it, just goes out, does it, lives his life, has a great time doing it, and I'm super stoked to have him 15 minutes down the road.
I know. Having him right down the road has been nice. We're all getting settled, but it's been just like a peace of mind to like know that my dad's just right down the road.
Yeah.
It's just like the other weekend when I went back home, and after work I went and I was like, "What's up, Dad?" And then I was like, I dropped off my car, and I was like, "Okay, bring me home."
Yep.
And he's like, "All right, come on."
It's nice to have him like just pop in the kitchen, hang out for a little bit, and then jet. Like, it's nice, and I feel like it makes things feel more of like home because we've got family.
Yeah. No, absolutely. My dad's a funny guy because my parents have this new house, and it's beautiful. They just got all new furniture. And right now my mom's still up in Vermont. They're in the process of, you know, getting their summer cottage back together to eventually sell and, you know, do all that. But my dad's like, I'm like, I'll go in. I'm like, "What's up, Dad?" And he's like, I'm like, what's your seat? And he was like, "I haven't picked yet. I'm sitting in every seat every night just to see which one I like the most," because they have like 2 accent chairs, this giant sectional,
and a big wide open living
chair.
room.
Yeah, no, they have all sorts of stuff, and I was like, "Do you eat dinner in the same spot?" He goes, "Nope, switch it up every night." I'm like, nice.
Between the dining room and their island, he's got plenty of choices
like
to sit.
Seating for like 15 people.
Yes, they've got plenty of seating, that's for sure.
Yeah, but no, he's one of a kind, that's for sure. He's one of a kind.
He is a wild, wild man.
I know. And it's crazy because we'll get like, we'll get our families together. We'll do, like, a Mexican train night.
Yep.
We'll play games. We'll do whatever. But it's, like, funny to see our dads interact because they, like, know each other.
Yeah, and like, to me, like, and again, I know Vermont's small, you always say small world, but, like, that always gets me. Mm-hmm. And they'll just randomly start talking about stories, or, oh, you remember so-and-so back at Thunder Road, mm-hmm. or, oh, you remember those two boys out back in the high school always fighting, or, like, just the stories that they come up with.
Yeah.
It's nice having them already have that connection. Mm-hmm. Because, again, I mean, granted, both of our families are very outgoing people and like to be around people, so it makes it easy, but that connection definitely helps.
Yeah, because your dad was closer in age with my Uncle Steve and my Uncle Chunk, I think.
Yep.
And my Aunt Pat. But between all of them and, like, playing soccer together, my uncle Chunk passed away this year, and to, like, even talk to your dad about, like, the stories that he knew, like, I'm like, it's just crazy.
It is.
And, like, we knew it, like, we grew up together. We never really knew, like, our worlds collided, and then after college, when we became friends and roommates and all of that fun stuff, we really understood, like, how much our, like, worlds were connected.
Yeah. A lot.
Like, my dad knew your grandfather.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
Your dad knew my grandparents.
Right.
And, it's crazy because, like, I think about it and I'm like, your dad knew my grandparents longer than I ever did.
Right. Yeah. That's.
Well, your dad at least.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. No, that's a. Yeah. It's just crazy how it collides of just, again, the stories that they'll just randomly spit out. And it's cool to listen to, like, the connection of it.
I wanted, like, because I know I look like a Hamlet, but I always, like, have wanted to, like, ask your dad and be like, do I look like a Hamlet?
Yeah.
Because I know I do. I know, like, I look like my dad.
Yeah.
Both Tate and I look very, like, similar, and we look like my dad, but we have, like, Tate has a lot more of my mom's features, like dark hair, dark eyes, like, everything in that sense. He looks like my mom's dad, but I definitely am a Hamlet.
Yeah, you'll have to ask him. I'm curious now, too.
More fair, light eyes.
Yeah.
Hamlet nose. Yeah, I'm definitely a Hamlet, but no, I've always wanted to. I never, like, think about it, and then I, like, sit and think. I'm like, you knew all of my aunts and uncles, you knew my grandparents, and, like, I think of, like, my grandparents and I see them in my dad.
Yeah.
Especially my grandpa, and I'm like.
I know, I start seeing my grandfather and my dad a lot more now.
And I'm like, I'm a Hamlet for sure, but no, it's just funny. It's just funny to see.
It is. I love it. I love that it's not just, two families that are strangers type deal. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah.
I do. And they both of our dads are very, like, funny, outgoing, witty guys.
Yeah.
So they just, like, feed off of each other.
Yeah.
They absolutely just feed off of each other, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's absolutely hilarious.
They're both, like, the guys that, like, they're not the star of the show, but they kind of sit back and they absorb everything, and then they'll, like, throw in one or two things out there, and then you're like, where did you come from?
Yes.
But no, we're very lucky.
We are, and we owe Robbie a pork chop somewhere.
I know. When he gets back, we owe my dad a pork chop.
We gotta do some research. Best pork chop.
We gotta find the pork chop that the guy was talking about at the golf course.
That father was going off on a pork chop.
Yeah. No, we were walking when we went to
Quail
Hollow for the PGA, and we were leaving, and this guy was ranting. Like, to give you context about my father, is my father didn't grow up with great food. Didn't have great flavor, wasn't the best food, pretty much sums up his life, but now his taste buds are ruined forever. Like, my mom is a phenomenal cook. My mom is a great cook, but, like, even to this day, my mom can make the best spread, whatever, and my dad's gotten better, so I'm not throwing him under the bus, but, he likes weird shit. He loves weird shit. He'll put pepper on everything.
That's the same with my dad. pepper on literally everything. And it's not a little bit of pepper.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of pepper.
It's a lot of pepper. Like, just butter, pepper, whatever it might be, just kind of just masks whatever flavor it might be. And, like, vividly, there was one time we had mac and cheese from me and my brother going to hockey. My mom made a really nice salmon dinner for, like, the two of them because we were at hockey. And the next day, my dad just mixed around the two, and I'm like, Dad, that's the weirdest shit. And we still talk about the macaroni salmon.
Oh.
But, like, in hindsight, my dad loves a pork chop. Loves a pork chop. And this guy we were walking behind was ranting about, more raving than anything.
Yeah.
It was like this incredible.
I don't know if it was at like a restaurant that he went or if it was like
It was
a
like
butcher.
Bone in, like 3 inches thick, sear on both sides, herbs, like, and my dad's getting like closer and closer.
Into the conversation right behind them as they're walking, like trying to get details on this
Like,
pork chop.
If anybody saw from a different perspective, it would have looked like he was in that group of people and not with us because he was walking so close to them. And I'm like, come on, Dad. And he was like, did you hear about that pork chop? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I think everybody did because this guy was so excited about that pork chop.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. Like, I grew up, my parents, like, pork chops was like twice a week, I swear to God. Pork chop, like a potato, veggie, and applesauce. Like, love a good pork chop. And when I was in Texas for the bachelor party for Ben, we went to a really, really nice steakhouse, Perry's. And I guess they're known for their pork chop. And I'm like, I have to get it. And immediately thought of your dad of like, man, Robbie would go bananas for this freaking pork chop.
Yeah. He loves a pork chop.
It's strange the things that we like tie to people. Like Robbie, pork chop. Justin, throw a ham down.
Throw a ham down. What do you think people resonate you with?
I don't know.
Instantly. Easy.
Hot dogs?
Hot dogs.
Hell yeah. I ain't mad about that. I saw a TikTok yesterday where it was a cheesy hot dog in an air fryer. Bun, cheese on the bottom, hot dog on top, air fry it, bun's nice and toasted, cheese is melted, drooling.
You're a pig.
Absolutely drooling.
You're a pig.
I'm just excited it's summer. 4th of July is right around the corner, and I'm going to hammer some dogs.
I think you've had more hot dogs this year than you have in previous years.
I feel like I haven't had many hot dogs.
I've literally seen you eat more hot dogs as of recently than I did in all of last year that you lived here.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, also, the bachelor party, we had a metric shit ton of burgers and dogs. So, like, literally every day for lunch was burgers and dogs, and it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. What do you think people, like, tie to you?
I think it's easy if you know me.
Like, food-wise or just anything-wise?
My sister would know, and you would know. Like, what's my go-to that I, like, love?
Sushi or Chipotle?
Close. I would get it, like, 3 times a week when we were at the old house. And it wasn't. Chipotle for sure.
Pho?
Pho.
Yep.
I'm a big soup girl.
We haven't had pho in a while.
Yeah. My sister, every time she orders pho dang, she'll
Send it to you?
Yeah. She's like, I'm getting pho. I'm like, I hate you right now.
Yeah, you did also send her a picture of Swig, and that pissed her off, so...
I did send her... Well, it's...
payback.
She's gone to pho more than I've gone to Swig.
True.
So... But yeah. What's your favorite brand of hot dog?
Favorite brand of hot dog? I mean...
Do you like a brat?
I don't mind a brat. I prefer just a good old-fashioned American hot dog.
Pork or beef?
Preferably beef. I like a good beef frank.
Like a Fenway Frank.
Fenway Frank you can't go wrong with. Especially the foot-long Fenway Frank. I mean, come on.
That's not the actual Fenway Frank, though.
Right. Because they actually have their own hot dog.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not 12.
No.
Like 8, 6.
It's big. But What's the brand back home with the white package?
Mackenzie?
I like a good Mackenzie dog.
Like a snapper? That's a
Yep.
pork.
Yep. But I think a good ballpark beef
Ballpark beef frank.
hits the spot pretty well. I mean, I'm not against beef or pork. You know, I'll take a hot dog if it's beef or pork. I don't care. I mean, I'm never gonna be at a barbecue and be like, what brand of hot dog is this? I'm gonna be like, oh, that's a hot dog. I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You think there's any new faux spots around us that we haven't tried?
I don't know. I haven't looked. I was actually thinking about it today. We weren't really feeling great, and so, like, my first instinct is, like, faux soup.
Yep.
But who knows? Not me. I don't know.
I don't know anything.
No. Oh.
You heard that?
I think everybody might have heard that, but it's
just my... I don't know what that is, but it wasn't a burp. It's just like sometimes my lungs or my throat bubble.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, we think of pork chops for my dad. What do you think would be for your dad?
Honestly, I would think... I honestly think a Chicago-style hot dog. He goes bananas for a Chicago dog.
That's interesting.
Loves a Chicago hot dog.
That's interesting.
Like, I vividly remember going out to Chicago to visit my sister. I went through this car wash that had a snack bar in it, and he got a Chicago dog at that place and was ranting about this car wash Chicago dog.
Yeah. I think of two things. I think of barbecue for your dad.
Yeah.
Or smash burger.
He does love both of those.
He also is a big breakfast guy.
Big breakfast guy.
Mm-hmm.
Known for his sausage gravy. Not a fan personally.
I think I've heard you say that more times than he's actually made it.
Really? When my sister was around more, she would always request it.
Because I remember before I moved and before you deployed, your sister was in town.
At camp, right? And he made it?
It was biscuits and gravy.
Yep.
On the Blackstone.
Yep.
Yeah. And you're like, I don't like biscuits and gravy. And then every single time we talk about what your dad likes and what he's good at making, and you're like, he makes this, but I hate him.
He makes a mean soup. He makes a good soup.
I've been waiting to see it.
Great corn chowder, and I'm not really a big fan of corn chowder, but...
Who?
You.
I'm a fan of corn chowder. My dad hates
corn chowder.
Yeah, my dad hates corn chowder.
Yeah, good corn chowder.
If my dad is listening right now, what do you think he just did when he heard the word corn chowder?
Probably gagged.
No, I can tell you exactly
Yuck.
Yuck. That is 100% what my father just did as he listened to this. I can almost guarantee it. Like, that's one of my dad's noises that I know for a fact.
Yeah.
That something that he doesn't like, and like my dad likes some nasty concoctions, but there's a few things in this world that he does not like.
Right.
It's corn chowder and pesto. Hates pesto.
Interesting.
I've seen him eat nasty, nasty shit, and he's a big sauce guy. If anything's dry, gross. He hates Bojangles just because the one time my mom got it, after they just flew in and they needed something quick, he's like, it's dry. And it was dead to him from that day on.
Oh, gosh.
And I'm like, all right, Dad.
I was just thinking of something and I forgot it, and it's going to drive me up a wall because now I want to know what it was.
Yeah, I don't know. Couldn't tell you. But yeah, there's so many, like, funny moments that, like, I don't know. I think of both of our dads. Like, even in the recent times, but...
Yeah.
They're two very funny guys.
They are. They're hilarious. They are hilarious.
And I'll give credit to my brother-in-law. He's a dad of 3. And the stuff that he comes up with is funny. All last weekend I was laughing hard because they're in the process of moving. They're going to be out of their house in a week and a half. My sister and my brother-in-law and their 3 kids, all under the age of 6. But they have a lot going on, so there's a lot of moving pieces. But my nephew Harry had a jamboree for soccer last weekend, and it was hot. It was like 75, 80 degrees. And my mom went and took Marley, and she was like, well, I'll just go get my bathing suit. And Katie didn't really actually say anything. And then we'll come back down, we'll go for a swim. And Justin looked at Katie, and dead as can be, and was like, stop inviting people over to swim. The pool is not ready. The pool is, like, you can't swim. And, like, kind of, like, I wouldn't say, like, snapped at her because he didn't. It was actually comical. And my sister can be, like...
Even keel. Just
even keel and, like, not even pay attention to anything he just said. And kind of just continue. But, like, that's not just him. My sister does that with everybody. Mm. If she's, like, doesn't want to talk about something...
She won't.
She'll look right through you and she'll keep going. But we get back, and it was just me, Justin, and Katie, and we were, like, sitting around. I was about to leave. I was about to fly out, and Katie was just, like, said something. We were all sitting on the back porch, and I was like, Justin, can I go swimming in the pool? And he was like, what the hell? And then it was just, like, an ongoing thing about... He was like, did I really snap? Because Justin, like, he, like, backpedals.
All of a sudden, it's like, oh, shit. Did I
do that?
No, he's hilarious.
He is funny.
And again, just the things that come out of his mouth at the random times, absolutely hilarious.
And so with them moving, I helped them while I was home last weekend and cleaning out, like, all the nooks and crannies. They've been in this house for 4 years? 4 or 5 years? Yeah, 5 years. And I open up their pantry because we've moved all of the furniture out, like, whatever.
They're selling a bunch of stuff.
Selling everything. And I open up the pantry. And I'm like, what are in these, like, they have one of those, like, cubicle storage unit, like, storage areas with, like, the perfect, like, square, like, inserts. And I, like, can't pull them out. I'm like, there's something heavy in all of these. You know what was in all of them? Beans.
Just canned beans?
Justin probably has about 150 cans of beans.
Man after my own heart.
And he was like, I'm going to be eating a lot of beans. And
wartime soup right there.
Making wartime soup and all sorts of stuff. And I'm like, you are foul. Like, he has Costco pallets worth of black beans. And so the other day when I got black beans at the grocery store, I was like, I should have just put some on my carry-on from...
Brought some beans home from Justin's bean warehouse.
Yeah. But he's just, he's a funny guy, and he's a great dad. He is a great dad. My sister, as much as she doesn't like to admit it, but she does admit it, is very lucky. He is a good dad to those boys and is a good husband, for sure.
He is. He's a good dad.
He's a good role model.
Yes.
Takes a lot of heat from all of us.
Yep.
Especially being the first one to marry into the family. And
right. He loves when I'm around, because then he's not the new guy anymore.
Yeah. And then he can just annihilate you.
When it was just us boys driving to the house for Thanksgiving, he had a couple of beverages, and he is just off his rocker hilarious. Mm-hmm. He would absolutely rag on me and then turn around, like you said, backpedal. Be like, I'm just kidding, right? It's just because you're the new guy. Like, I don't actually have a problem with you, right? And I'm like, Justin, you need to understand, I've known you for quite a few years now. This is not new. It is really okay. Like, it's okay.
He's a sensitive guy. He's a sensitive guy. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, he stands up tall, but then he'll...
I mean, he's very I will say this, and this has always been the case, because he's been in our family... I don't know, I'm going to butcher the years, but, like, I was in high school.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he's been...
10 plus years.
beyond 10 years. But, like, I've gone through, like, a lot of life changes and been in relationships, had bad breakups, have been I've been injured. I lost my grandmother. We all did. My sister, me, my mom lost her mom. And, like, he's a very, like, emotionally in tune guy that is very protective of the people that he cares about.
Yeah.
Even when I went home after having surgery on my shoulder, and I was down bad. And I remember we had to take the bandage off of my shoulder, and it's glued on there.
Ugh.
And I have incisions. There's a lot of stuff going on, and at this point I'm 20 years old, and I'm sitting in the bathtub, and my mom's putting hot water, baby oil, and like trying to like peel it off, and I am just sobbing. And this was over Easter of my freshman year in college.
Yeah.
And just sobbing, just bawling my eyes out, like just super uncomfortable. And that past year I got him a panini press, and he whips out the panini press, starts making like different sandwiches. It's trying to distract me, and it's just like trying to make me laugh. And
yeah,
like,
he's definitely like a humor's the best medicine kind of guy.
Yeah, and like, but he genuinely cares. And like, there's been people in my life that haven't necessarily treated me the best.
Yeah.
And he'll be the first guy to be like in my corner.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And he's like that with my nephews, and I can only imagine what his daughter, the one
That's
and
gonna
only,
be interesting to see.
Sweetness.
Yep.
Is,
old princess.
She's gonna be a very lucky, but she has 2 older brothers and a very protective dad, and some crazy uncles, and a poppy that is weird with his salmon mac and cheese. But
yeah. Do you think I would be a protective dad?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that too. And you've mentioned it before. Like, you think I would kind of be a softie.
Yeah.
I think I'd be rather like rigid, not like military drill style. But I feel like I don't know, there's something about me that thinks I'm going to be very rigid. Of like, this is the rules. This is what needs to happen. This is how it's going to go.
I don't think so.
No.
No. Nope.
Huh.
I think you're going to be very much like your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do. I think you're going to be a softie. I think you're going to be protective. I mean, anybody
right,
is.
Naturally,
but, yeah. But I think it's going to be more like, these are the rules. You're not going to do this because Mom gets home and she's going to be pissed.
And Mom's going to lay the hammer down.
You do that with the dogs. You're soft.
I don't think I'm soft with the dogs.
You're soft with the dogs. Nash sleeps under the covers with us.
Because
for anybody that's listening, please chime into this conversation, because this is something that drives me crazy. And especially for Father's Day, you're a dog dad, right?
Yeah.
We live and we learn and we parent our fur babies. But both of your Frenchies that you've had.
Yeah.
Remington to Nash, since they're a puppy, and you're the single guy when you brought both of them home.
Yep.
And so they're just these little tiny like beans, and you're just putting them under the covers, and then from there forward they have the worst habits. I can be sitting doing computer work and Nash is pawing at me to get underneath my blanket.
On the couch, not even in bed.
But at this point, I don't let him underneath the blanket.
We usually let him once, but then he'll get up and then mess around and come back.
I'll lift it up once. If he's not under and within like 5 seconds, I put it down. I don't let him under. If I pull it up and he just stands there, I push him out and I'm done. Because I'm like, you're a dog. And he's a dog that needs to be underneath a blanket, up against somebody's body. He likes
to be warm all the time.
I'm just like...
You can blame my parents, because our first dogs that we had, the rescues, both of them slept in my bed. And then the 2 dogs after
under
that...
the covers?
one of them would crawl underneath the covers and go all the way to the foot of the bed, and the other one would be up top.
Yeah.
That's how both pair of dogs growing up slept.
It starts as a puppy. Bo, our precious little angel fur baby, he's so dumb, but he never slept under the covers. He never slept up at the head of my bed. He could sleep at my feet, and he sleeps perfectly in between my legs.
Yeah.
And then...
last couple of nights, he's been up in between us, especially when he first falls asleep.
Yeah. And he also sleeps underneath the bed.
I love hearing him try to get to his bed underneath the bed, because there's not a lot of room. I don't understand how he lays on the bed or lays on his bed on the floor in between. Like, there can't be that much room. And you just hear him army crawling to his bed. It is hilarious.
Yeah, so he sleeps under the bed. He's just a dope. But I think that, so last week Bo went to the groomers and he came back and he was fine. And a couple hours later, his eye was like swollen shut, leaky, and I panicked. And you were streaming, and I was like, there's something wrong with Bo's eye. And like instantly, I'm thinking the worst things, worst case scenario. And then I'm like, well, he's gonna lose his eye.
Yeah, you were pretty wound up. That's
and I was
for sure.
like, he's gonna lose his eye. We're gonna have a one-eyed plank dog. And I was like, okay, so called the vet in the morning, but kind of just watched him. He definitely was very uncomfortable. And he ended up
like keep it shut, and then randomly it'd be open, but depending on where he looked, like he would kind of close it again.
Yeah, like if he was looking up, he was fine, but if he like looked eye level or down, it would shut.
And you know what? When you say that, that makes me think that there was definitely something in his eye, because where the issue is like dead smack in the middle of his eye. So yeah. I genuinely think he had something in his eye, because it was getting better in the morning. Yeah. Because like by the time I got to the vet, he wasn't closing his eye at all. He was looking everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I was like, we've got the appointment. Let's just send it.
Yeah, and it was like bloodshot, but there was no blood in his eye. But I was freaking out, and I had to work, so Nick brought him to the vet, and he has an ulcer in his eye, so he's been getting 3 eye drops 3 times a day. So there's one eye drop in particular that he doesn't like.
Yeah, it must like irritate him or something.
Yeah, and so he'll like paw at his eyeball.
Yeah.
But the past couple nights he's been sleeping pretty high up in the bed. But
yeah, because when I was texting Kenny while I was at the vet with him, giving her updates, and of course where the vet is, there's absolutely no service, and I was like, hey, what's the password to your Wi-Fi? Nobody in the entire clinic knew the Wi-Fi password, but every like exam room had an exterior door, so I would go outside to text you. And again, you didn't like the word ulcer. I didn't necessarily like the word ulcer. I feel like ulcer, like Kenny was like, it sounds like a tumor. Like, is that a tumor? Because
he's going back tomorrow, and to like check to see if it shrunk. And in my mind, I'm like, he has a tumor.
Right.
Because you put the two together, and I'm like, does he have eye cancer?
Right. Yeah. So she was definitely like,
and that's
worried.
Like pretty common because he's a cockapoo. So the Cocker Spaniel in him, his eyes and his ears are always going to be like the first thing that probably will go. But
right. Because we had cockapoos growing up, and one of them, Olivia, she had really bad eyes as she got older. But I was like kind of relaying the concern from Kenny to the vet, and they're like, ulcer is just the word we use. It's pretty much like an abrasion on his eye. You know, he could have scratched it himself. He could have been playing with Nash, and Nash scratched it. The vet could have scratched, or the groomer could have scratched it. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much just bacteria that, you know, scratches the eye or, you know, injures the eye a little bit. There wasn't any damage. There wasn't any, you know, major cuts because there was no blood in his eye. Mm-hmm. And they're like, this could have happened a month ago. She's like, obviously, it was good that you brought him in. You know, it was most likely something just in his eye. But with that, it brought our attention to it, and we'll be able to treat it no problem. So it wasn't like they weren't worried. They weren't like, he's going to lose his eye, like it's going to get bad. Like they were like, nope, we're just going to treat it, and it'll shrink, heal up, and he'll be fine. Yeah. But, yeah, no, he's doing much better now. And again, I'm glad I did bring him in because I was expecting like, oh, we're gonna do this eye drop test, and I'm like, it was probably just something in his eye. But again, we're here. You're the pros. Let's do it. And they're like, well, we're glad we checked. You know, X, Y, and Z. Here's the treatment plan, and we'll be good.
Yeah. So.
Circling back, I'm soft with the dogs, and Kenny think I'll be a softie with kids.
Yeah. Yep.
I remember when my niece was born, my dad had a goatee for my entire life. My entire life. Like, never saw him from the day I was born to the day my niece was born without a goatee. And he was so worried that when he would give her kisses, that it would tickle her and she wouldn't like it. So he shaved his goatee off. And I'm like, that is a grandparent right there.
My dad had a goatee for a while. But my dad's never had facial hair until... He has a goatee right now, doesn't he? Or is he clean shaven?
I think he's clean shaven. Actually, I don't know. Now my dad will like randomly grow a beard.
Yeah. My dad can't grow a beard, but my brother can grow a mean beard.
Yeah, he can grow some facial hair for sure.
My brother can grow a beard, that's for sure, and it's thick.
Do you think your brother will be a soft dad, or do you think he'll be a rigid dad? Because Tate has some emotion to him too.
Yeah, he's an emotional guy. I think that my brother will be kind of like an in-between. I think he'll be like my dad.
Yeah.
It depends if he has a girl or a boy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because that's exactly like my dad. My dad never really ever raised his voice to me. Like, I'm not saying that my parents put their hands on me, but like,
no.
If I were to be disciplined,
yep.
It was my mom.
Yep.
My dad, no.
Yeah,
never.
Same thing. I don't think.
And so, but I will tell you, when my brother got his ass in trouble,
Dad took care of it.
It was my dad. Yeah.
That's interesting. And like kind of how we talked about it, like watching your dad become a grandparent, like seeing into like, you know, a time lapse of like when you were a kid. It's always interesting to see them change roles from like parent to grandparent.
Yeah.
Like I didn't necessarily get to see a lot of it because my niece lives out in Chicago, but I'll be curious once, you know, we have kids, like how he'll be, especially now living in the same state, like what it'll be like to see it on the day-to-day kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I think like it's hard to tell, but like I think depending on the situation, like everybody has a different story.
Right.
And it's like there's people out there that like I can use like your family too is like my sister. We have different dads. Like she has a good relationship with her dad. I have like our side of the family grew up like my sister's the oldest sibling on both sides of her family because she also has another sister and another brother and similar ages to me and Tate, but like we all kind of followed her lead. Like my sister is like the golden little
the trailblazer.
Yeah. So I mean, she's created a really good like path for all of us and has been the most incredible sibling on both sides. But like her dad and her stepmom are great but like when we were kids, Katie stayed with us. She went to Colchester. She would go up and see her dad and her other siblings, but you know, she was primarily with us. But like even my dad was in Katie's life from I think since she was like 2 or 3.
2, right? Yeah.
3, yeah, something like that. So he was there through her whole upbringing, and so it's not even like a blink of an eye.
Right, like because like you never like when you talk about your siblings to somebody who doesn't know you, you're never like, oh yeah, it's my half sibling.
No.
Same thing with me when I talk about my sister. I'm never like, oh yeah, she's my half sister. I'm like, yeah, she's my sister because just like you, I grew up with my sister in the house.
Right.
Like I grew up, she was my sister. Like I never explained it as like, oh yeah, you know,
right,
she's got a different dad or whatever else. Like it was never like that.
I would say that there's a lot of similarities, but like I also have my sister's my best friend.
Right.
Like,
you guys talk every day.
We talk every single day. Like it's just, she's just my sister.
Right.
At the end of the day, she's just my sister. And she's lucky to have all these siblings and several sets of parents. And as much as it was tough for her probably as a child and like growing up, because she's also has an age gap to all of us.
Right. It's just like my sister.
Right. And so like she, it probably wasn't easy for a long time. But now I'm like, you have all sorts of hands on deck. Yeah. And it's also like a big deal because it puts into perspective how many different, like, especially for Father's Day, is like how many dads she has in her life, like how many male figures, like it's the same thing with Justin and his parents now with her parents. It's like your dad and my dad and how we have a relationship with both of them, and it's crazy to think like how many like male figures in your life actually do matter. And there's people that don't have that, and like, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of moms out there that play for both roles. Plenty of moms
that should be wished Happy Father's Day on Father's Day for sure.
Right. And I'll throw one out there. My Aunt Tam.
Yep. I texted her this morning and I said, hey, Happy Father's Day. I love you.
Yeah. My Aunt Tam, she deserves it all, especially, with the kind of mom and the kind of father that she was.
Absolutely.
Especially raising her son. She deserves all of it.
And next Father's Day, Tam will be here too.
I know, next Father's Day, my Aunt Tam will be here. Well,
everybody's going to be here.
Everybody's going to be here.
I love it. I
know. But
I'm excited. But yeah, Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there and all the moms that were dad too.
Yeah.
Y'all deserve a lot, because each and every one of us would not be the people that we are without you, and we'll never be able to repay you for the sacrifices and the time and the money and the headaches and the what the heck is going on situations. But we're very lucky, we're very blessed, and we're very, very thankful. So again, Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, all the dog dads, the cat dads, the fish dads.
What other kind of dads?
Farmer dads.
Farm dads.
Farm dads.
Yeah, all the dads.
We hope you get a pork chop tonight.
Yeah, I hope my dad gets pork chop and some cottage cheese and some other weird shit.
God, cottage cheese just, for me, is not it.
Yeah.
But make sure you're following both Kenny and I on Instagram, as well as the BK Lounge Instagram. You've liked, subscribed our YouTube page, as well as you're following us on Apple Music, Spotify, all of the good stuff. And we appreciate you. We love you. We're still working on our schedule. Yep. We'll probably do a podcast next week, because the weekend after we're in Vermont, right?
Yeah, we'll post it on our social medias and in Discord. I think the goal for the summer is to do every other week.
Yeah.
But
we'll figure it out one way or another, and we're very lucky to have all of you hanging out with us on the Sundays that we are live. And if you came in late, again, check out YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all of the good stuff. But I hope you all have a great Sunday. Happy Father's Day to those who fill that role. We love you a ton. Any last words, Kenneth?
Tell your dad I love him.
Oh my gosh.
Bye.
This has been the BK Lounge Podcast with Burt and Kenny. We hope you enjoyed your time diving deep in on wild topics, listening to crazy stories, and hanging out with us. We'll see you next week live on Twitch. Be sure to check out our website for all our social links at www.thebkloungepod.com. Y'all be good now, and we'll see you next time.